Há muito tempo, o mundo era cheio de maravilhas. Tinha aventura, tinha magia. Mas não era fácil de dominar essa magia. Então o mundo achou um jeito mais simples de se virar. Mas eu quero muito que a magia ainda viva em vocês.
One thing that I would like to know from you is when you've watched the first trailer, the first thing that comes to mind is the traditional fantasy genre and all the elves and wizards. How was it for you to play with such a traditional genre with a different twist like in this movie?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you see a fantasy taking place long ago, and the idea of putting it into a modern world was really fun for us because we thought, well, these characters might take for granted the things that are magical to them.
It's a movie about a bond between the two brothers and the half-father, I guess.
Yeah.
So you worked in the Monsters University movie, and it's a bond about two friends and the friendship of them. How does it translate to the family style? Is it the same thing for you, or it's kind of different in some sort?
Yeah, I mean, what was fun about Monsters University was this connection of these two friends, and what's exciting about going on now with Onward is it's two brothers. It's a little closer. It's that family connection, and siblings can be complicated. I mean, you love them, but they also drive you crazy and you want to kill them half the time. So I think that part of it really got me excited as far as moving on to another type of story.
These two brothers, they go in a road tour, like a road movie type of film. So you worked in this fantasy type and a road movie inside it, like, and playing with the fairies and all the trouble that they find in the road. And how do you manage to put what you think would be like the trouble in this world in a road movie, in this kind of type of movie?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that was exciting, because this is a modern quest film, we thought, well, this is the only quest film that can have a car in it. You know, normally they're on foot or they're on a horse, and like, well, they can be in a van, and our van is kind of horse-like. It's almost its own character. Guinevere is the name of the van, and it's Barley's, you know, pride and joy. And I think we were always looking for ways to update the quest movie or have some funny modern twist on it, and certainly the road picture / quest movie dovetailed nicely together.
Dois Irmãos.
Cuidado, pode ter armadilhas.
And we see that in the trailer all of kind of reference from other places, like the staff and stuff like that. And in the scenes that were shown to us is like the card game that plays that. And how do you pick these references from today and put it in a fantasy genre in this movie? How do you translate it?
Yeah, you know, we have a lot of fantasy fans at Pixar, and so there was a lot of people who were like, oh, you have to do this, or I grew up playing role-playing games, and that's a huge part of fantasy, and it's also something you wouldn't actually see featured in a fantasy film, but because ours is modern, we could do that. And so I really looked to a lot of the other animators and artists who were really into fantasy to help me find those ways to make those modern fantasy connections.
This is the first original movie, not a sequence, after Coco. How was it for you to take this kind of weight, because Coco was such a huge success and it was heartfelt, and like Onward is the next step. How do you feel like taking this step?
I mean, I love Coco. It's one of my favorites, and it's so emotional and beautiful, and it is also about family. A friend of mine came up and said, like, good luck. Like, that's now the cry level, is that ending. And, you know, it's not a competition, but it totally is. No, I mean, I worked with Leon Critch and Darla Anderson on Toy Story 3, and they made Coco, and so I love that film so much, and it's great that we keep kind of upping the bar for each other, and they were helpful to us when we were making this movie. You know, at Pixar we all kind of help each other and give suggestions for each other's films, so it was really great to have their help.
When I watch the trailer, it gives me such a Weekend at Bernie's vibe because of the father and all this sort of mess with the clothes and the scenes with the fairies. Was it an inspiration for you, and how do you translate like a more adult movie to a kids movie in Onward?
Yeah, probably not intentionally a Weekend at Bernie's movie, but I can see it now. We just wanted we had this half dad, which was a unique thing we'd never seen before, and then they put these clothes on top of them because they got to get them to blend in, and suddenly that became this great animation challenge. Like, how do you make pants have feelings and walk around and emote, and then on top of that, how do you make this like a lifeless upper half animate and almost seem like it's also thinking, even though it's not? And so we're always looking for those kind of animation challenges at Pixar, and the animators really had a blast with it.
And talking about the animation, Pixar is every movie is a step forward in realism and details. How does this movie translate it with the addition of this kind of fantasy and the modern technology? Does the animation keeps going forward?
Yeah, I'm always impressed with how much better and more talented the animators have gotten over the years, and I think one of the tricks isn't always to make it more realistic. It's to find ways to stylize it more, or to keep the art form alive, because you wouldn't want it to just look like live action, otherwise why not just shoot live action? So I'm really impressed with how the artists at Pixar are finding ways to make it more animated, make it more stylized and fun, and that was one of the challenges and fun things about doing this film.
Feitiço pra crescer. Se aumentarmos o galão, o combustível que tem dentro aumenta junto. Cotovelos pra fora.
Eu tô tentando focar.
Foca!
Deu certo! O galão tá enorme! E a van tá enorme! E você...
Hello, R7. I'm Dan Scanlon, the director of Onward. Please go see Onward in theaters March 5th.
O que foi agora?
Criar e pontem. Essa magia cria uma ponte e você anda nela. Se você pensar que a ponte tá aí, ela tá aí. Você vai conseguir.
Dois Irmãos, uma jornada fantástica.